Welcome back to Friday Night Football. The Sydney Swans in complete control here at Etihad Stadium, leading by 36 points. Jude, what did you like about the Sydney Swans in that first quarter? There was so much to like.
Oh, I think it's mainly their hands around stoppages. Very clean, putting someone into space and then just out and just penetrating forward. I think if you look the other end, just absolutely a lack of structure. You're putting too much emphasis on Big Joe Danaher as one out up there.
Yeah, well, they're very predictable to one another, aren't they, Sydney? It's not the big guys doing the damage. It's them getting it in there, then predictable at their feet and using the ball so well.
The pressure, though, that's what it's come from.
Duck, what do you think Essendon need to do to get back into this game?
Look, it's just plain hard work now. I mean, they just have to man up, just really put Sydney under pressure. And as you said, Joe Danaher out on his feet. They need more options, they really do. And give him a chop out. And like I said, plain old hard work, Tim.
A lot of work to do.
For sure, Tim. The last time the only other time they had a bigger lead than this against Essendon Sydney was in round 1, 1983. Bomber Thompson and Paul Salmon debuted for the Bombers that day. They were 8 goals behind. Got close that day, but so it's an amazing first term for Sydney. They're leading by 6 straight goals here.
Brendan Goddard, 12 possessions, leads all comers. Franklin, a late goal. And the margin at 36. So a lot of work for the Bombers. It has to be done at least partially in this term. They've got to shave something off this lead. The umpires tonight, we haven't mentioned them, at least by name. Farmer, Hosking and Pennell. Second term on Friday Night Football. Not a bad crowd either. But a little dismayed. Most of them Bomber fans. Tackle applied there on Kennedy by Hocking, taken by Ryder. Kicks it forward, bounces down towards the attacking 50. Getting in the road is Smith. A high ball towards the wing. Almost the mark there to Lloyd. Well played, Melksham. That was clever. Got it down to Merritt. He was dragged to the ground. In goes Lloyd once more. Applies a tackle on Hocking. And the ball is not going to come out of there. And we'll have a ball up.
So we saw a lot of Joe Watson and Josh Kennedy in that opening term. Talked about them pre-match. 6-goal margin at the moment. You'd be a hard call, wouldn't it? One or the other, eh? Those two big midfielders. So, as Dennis said, they've just got to, bit by bit here, they've got to win this quarter by a couple of goals, you think, Essendon. That's all. I mean, it's a big target, I know, but they're not going to get the 6 back in one term, you'd think. You're chuckling, Den.
I just saw something funny out there, Bruce, on the field. Doesn't matter.
Kennedy, you see a lot of good things, I reckon. Here's Jetta on the burst. Good kick. Changed the direction, gave Tippett a chance. Hooker's been good there. Parker, goal sneak, we know. Handball, Jack.
We spoke last week, Bruce, about with the Hawthorn-Sydney game, the form that Lewis Jetta's in at the moment. He's right back to 2012 when he was in the All-Australians 40. He's covering the ground exceptionally well and using it so well.
And I need levity right now. What was it, Tim?
Fletcher to bring it in, Bruce. Well, it was Smith who was lying on the ground. There was a guy lying on top of him. The ball had rolled about 10 feet away, but he felt obliged to try and get rid of it anyway. He didn't have a ball. He was simulated. Most odd what players do these days. The rules have got in their heads. Down goes Heppel on the outer side. They will have a ball up. It was funny when you saw it, Bruce. 44-7. Derricks conscious of Ryder, who had the leap. Derricks gets the crumb, though. Aylett tries to knock it out of the pack, then falls into the back of the Swan. No free kick. Emerging with the football is Jack. Slick hands away. Nicely done there. That was beautifully worked by Smith initially. Flies out to Melchevsky. He kicks it down towards the pocket. Just bounces off the toe there of Hooker, then the heel, and goes out of bounds.
It's been really good, Hooker. I think at some stage during the night we're going to see Hurley up across half forward and do something different, because Essendon just need a transition player. He's been at some stages of his career, Hurley, giving you that sort of hard-moving centre-half forward type, pushing up the midfield. They need something like that.
Tippett tried to lay it down. Ryder did a bit of roving. Hooker, good hands. Fletcher improvising. Bagley. Stanton, slow ball coming out. Zach Merritt, well done. Little give. Stanton running hard. Melksham tucked it under his arm. Couldn't get around Malcheski. Back to Stanton off. First step. Ambrose, good mark. That's strong. I know Tim's a big fan of this guy. He's explosive. He does bring something to their forward line. Danaher's the fly. Grundy. McVeigh. Oh, God. Good tackle.
It's been really good, Zach Merritt. For a young player, he's now come out for his 9th disposal. He's been good in the contest also.
Looks towards the middle, goes to Heppel. Gets there in the nick of time. Running a step late, Hanbury. So Heppel, turned 22 on Wednesday. Punishing kick inside the forward 50. Up in front, Bill Chambers. But the ball coming in rather slowly and too easy for Richards to destroy it out of bounds. He'll have to be content with his start. He'll have to be content too with what he's got on the park tonight. Falls behind the pack and last week. Hanbury, quick hand Shaw. Bird, a useful player, sends it towards the outer side. It bounces right on the numbers. Coming up is Franklin. Left the ball behind. Dempsey. Going in was Grundy. He socketed away. Hurley, not much space there. And he took the ball across the boundary line, and the boundary umpire was only about 10 metres away.
1 goal to Franklin in the opening term. Couple of score assists. He's looked up and about. Hasn't wasted one yet. Derricks against Ryder. Derricks with that goal in the opening term. Heppel back turning. Ball squeezing out the back. Dempsey getting a high one against Derricks. He kept down low, Dempsey. He's a line breaker, isn't he? If he can, he's got his hands full with Jetta for a lot of the night so far. Heppel, so they haven't gained anything there. Hurley with a control kick. Good mark, Goddard. That was a good contest, and he held it well. He's the lone goal scorer for the Bombers tonight.
Going for distance, very high ball inside the forward 50, but very deep to the pocket. Easy again for Richards, just punching away from Bill Chambers. It's out of bounds.
Do need a tall target that's really mobile at the moment across half forward. You're right there, Lee. Danaher often 2 out, and then Bill Chambers is the lone ball long in. It's not working for them.
Derricks in front. Bill Chambers tries to flick it behind. Derricks again gathers the ball on the bounce. He's working hard as he did last week. He's impressive. You can see that he's a limited player, but gee, from time to time he makes light of those limitations and giving away a bit of size as well. Again, very conscious of the taller man. Bill Chambers won it down, but stolen away by Shaw. Taken by Jack White of the pack. Sends a high ball towards the wing. Carried under it was Tippett. That was clever by Hooker, as much as it didn't result in a free kick. Mark was taken on the outer side, and now they can break. Tippett gets the football and comes across the ground. This is Bagley. Goes back to the middle, and Dempsey. Hooker runs for him. Hurley, who took the mark on the outer side, cruises past as well. He ignores both. Kicks inside the forward 50. Now a chance for Zaharakis. Picked it up, then lost it. Hanbury looking to fend off. It spills across to Laidler. Laidler goes down the line. Nicely worked McVeigh. Across towards Shaw. Kicks to half forward. Tippett.
He's had a terrific battle with Hooker, hasn't he? I mean, he's had his hands on a few, Tippett, but Hooker's been very good so far. And Franklin with strength against Hurley.
He just looked at Hurley with disdain. I think that's the term.
Don't take this the wrong way. That was a bit of you, Wayne Carey, there. I reckon just sent the one out.
Yeah, but
position on the
coaching him,
field.
Duck.
Duck, his marking in the last 2 weeks has been so impressive.
Yeah, look, I think if you look back to 2008 when he kicked 100 goals, he marked the ball very well. I don't think he's done that since. He's in great form right now, and I think back then we thought he could be the best forward we've ever seen in terms of athlete. He's back to that form tonight.
You didn't take that personally at the time, Wayne, when Lee said that, did you?
No, not at all.
I never said that.
So, what a good-looking kick, eh? He's hammering it home. He's kicked a couple.
Boys, it comes back to the switch. The initial switch came to Bagley, and then he looked back inboard. It just kills the forward movement. When the big switch goes across ground, it needs to go into the forward line. In the end, it comes back and goes straight down to Franklin.
Bill Chambers looking for Myers. Stanton quickly. Hibbert, a lot of the football. Gets a second chance there. Floats it towards half forward. Rampy leads back in the race without conviction, though. Sense they were coming from behind. This is Grundy out wide. Taken by young Lloyd, looks back inside. He's been impressive, but not that time. Ambrose, another youngster, chops it off, looks towards full forward. Ryder gets a one-out contest, but it falls in short. And Richards, a former Bomber, takes a timely mark. Goes to Melchevsky. Melchevsky in the goal square, across towards the leading target, and it's taken out there by Jetta.
Gee, the hands there were so impressive from Jetta. It was a hard kick. It had to be from Melchevsky. Cunningham's got some space. Decided not to use the run of Jack. Comes back inboard to Parker. Gee, suddenly, every time you call a Swans play, you think they're a gun, don't you? I mean, there you go. Parker kicks it straight to the opposition, but you feel their depth's amazing. Hibbert, good kick. Watson had a big opening term. He's been slowed down here. Now he needs to find a target. The gaps have closed, and that's a clever kick. And Zaharakis takes the mark. He's interesting, Zaharakis. I feel like he's just marking time a little bit. He's a fine talent. Just don't know if he's taken the next step. Tim, is that too hard a call on him, do you think, with Zaharakis or not?
No, he hasn't had a great year. His best year was when he won the best and fairest a couple of years ago, but he hasn't been able to get back to that form consistently.
He's normally a pretty good kick, and they need it, and he's got it home. That'll help.
David Zaharakis, only his 3rd goal of the season. You can see the sequence there. They're outgunned at the moment, the Bombers, but it's a step in the right direction. The margin 37. It was 36 at quarter time. Bell Chambers, Watson, cleverly down to Stanton. The 2 veterans combine. Stanton inside the forward 50. Ambrose was up. Chance for Myers, trying to work the angles. Ambrose, Melksham thought about trying to split the difference. Comes to Myers. That's an ambitious kick. He bounces it down towards Ryder. Ryder went to ground. That could have been in the back against Aylett as the ball rolls out of bounds. Hanbury thinks so. He appeals. We've got a boundary throw in.
True matchup. Sorry, Dennis. Kennedy and Watson are actually matched up at the moment. Very rarely do you see the 2 guns actually body to body at these contests.
Derrickson Ryder at the back. Hocking, clever kick. Oh, just missing. Might have even touched that post wrong side.
Well, they're both such difficult matchups because they're big-bodied inside midfielders. So I guess, you take a 50-50 contest from those 2.
And they're together again. Kennedy to Jetta. So clean at the moment, Jetta. Kennedy, Watson to run him down. We'd like to see more of that, don't we? The champs against one another. Bell Chambers caught up. Heppel getting it out a little bit. Merritt over the top of that. Jackson Merritt, and that ball not out. Umpire thinking about it. And now penalising.
All 3 exit, clear.
Malcheski gets it from Bird. Oh, took a while. Good kick, though.
A beauty. Jack. Full tilt, got to the football just inside the centre square. Goes down towards half-forward Franklin. 55 metres out. This will test him. He's got 2. He wants to move it quickly. Beats the man on the mark. Just shrugs off a tackle. Kicks from 45 now. Slides it right across the face of goal. And through for a minor score. Well, the idea was okay. And that says something about his confidence.
Wayne, we know the record that Lance Franklin has against Essendon. When you've got that sort of domination over a club, do you think it does play out that way?
It does. I think you certainly can go into games where you've had a good record against clubs, and he looks as confident as I've seen him for a long time. And he's got a touch of arrogance tonight.
Hookathon Goddard to Zaharakis to Danaher. Defensive side of the wing. Looks back to the corridor. Hibbert had to stretch. Goes to the centre circles and then to half forward with a footy. Up comes Watson, right on the numbers, trying to back off. Richards, they're good mates. Richards coming at him. The centering kick from Watson. A lot of Swans at the football, fisted away. Opportunity for Bird, quick thinking. He was under pressure. Gave it to Richards. Richards goes all the way back. Reece Shaw's got it now. Short one is on to Smith.
So Smith. Short kick, okay. No problems there. Laidler. Richards. A running bounce. And then Teddy delivers. Not a great kick, but he's got it. Fletcher was in the prime position. And Franklin, who had kicked 96 goals at Etihad Stadium in 29 matches coming in. So not only does he play well against the Bombers, he's slightly above his career average at this stadium. I think under the roof, he'd love these conditions, don't you?
Yeah. He's just in the right place at the right time there.
Fletcher then doesn't very often misjudge those aerials ball, Fletcher, but I think he just maybe is a bit worried who is in the vicinity to mark it.
So he averages 5 goals against the Bombers, and he's kicked 3.
That's good numbers.
Yep. 20 possessions last week. Gave away 6 free kicks, though. It was hard to work out his true value last week, but tonight, no doubting it. Well done. Knocked down the throat of Kennedy, who kicks inside the forward 50. Getting back is Dempsey. The defence under pressure. Hurley goes to the veteran Fletcher. Forward to Goddard. Runs outside the 50. Looked up, nothing to kick to. Swings it back to the middle. And he finds Dempsey, who'd pushed up. That's a clever kick under pressure. Man on the mark working hard, but Bagley still had the ball delivered nicely. Here's Melksham. Not so much from the players who've been really cited so far. They've had one or two players, Essendon, and that's it. Melksham goes with the left boot down towards the 50. Bit of a compromised decision there. Rampy able to punch it away. Grundy, consummate professional, under pressure, hooks it very high. Melksham off balance. Did cleverly if he intended that. Bagley. In goes Zaharakis, tackles Kennedy, fell at their feet, Bird on his knees, gives it across towards Parker. Parker stumbled, tried to kick it out of there. Jackson Merritt, he was tackled. Down goes Kennedy again. And we're going to have a ball up on the other side, I would imagine. Hard to see much coming of that.
Tom and Lee, is it time to bring Carlisle onto Franklin and maybe send Hurley forward? Would you do something as a radical?
You have to do something pretty radical, aren't you? I mean, I've broken half-time at least, but the game might be just completely gone by then.
Zaharakis, neat kick, good pick up by Ambrose, couldn't quite. Swans pressure, good. Watson got it off Hanbury, switches it back. Goddard, rare fumble for him. Gets it to Merritt. Jackson Merritt back to Watson. Little tunnel one. Hocking. Sydney with all the answers at the moment in the back, through to the Swans in the back half.
Further to that point, Lee, Mark Thompson, when he spoke to Tim Watson, he was talking about Carlisle very much as an interchange player, wasn't he? And concerned clearly about Tom Bell-Chambers. Well, he's had no influence on the game whatsoever.
I'd be very surprised if it doesn't happen at half-time, but that's why he's suggesting maybe even at this point you might have to roll the dice and have the punt.
Kick down the line, so Hanbury up to 14. His last 3 weeks have been 29, 34, 31 and 40, Hanbury. And he's in a very rich vein of form. Merritt, Ambrose and Rampy boundary throw. Thought Rampy was shaky last week, liked him a lot tonight.
Yeah, when the game was really hot early, he rose with the team as they came hard late at the end of the game. But it's been a great story coming out of suburban football in Sydney from University of New South Wales.
Bell-Chambers in front. Derricks wins this one down. Goddard with 16 possessions, tackled by Kennedy. Ball fell at his feet. Holding the ball. Well, obviously, the umpire thought that Goddard had clean possession or could have done something with it in any case. Meantime, 16 possessions for Kennedy. Gave it to Lloyd. Oh, what a catch. More a catch than a mark, that one. He was off balance. He was falling back, and it stuck.
Maybe ask that question again, Doug.
Yeah, exactly.
I changed my top 7 at half-time.
Look, Richo said last week that he took 5 contested marks out of his 10 last week. He's taken 4, I think, already tonight. I mean, that's where he's improved.
Outstanding. This for his 100th goal at this venue. And he's been a dead-eye Dick tonight. He puts it through. And the margin close to 50.
Lee, we saw your top 7 in the countdown. Now, is Franklin edging towards somewhere?
You've got to earn your win over a few weeks, Bruce, not in a half a footy.
Okay, just asking, just checking. Okay, Watson.
Having said that, can I change in half-time?
Here's Derricks. He's on 598 career goals, by the way, the same number as Pavlich, who plays his 300th tomorrow, as we know. On the up, Fletcher gets it back to Bagley. Bagley to Hooker, and then Hooker to Goddard, who's had so much of the ball. Shoved in the back, Goddard. Back to Goddard. Back to Stanton. Stanton around the body. Tumbling ball. Heppel and Lloyd. Lloyd did well there. Rampy working it in front. Hasn't taken control. Flipped out the back. Melsham. Watson. Industrious as always. Hocking. Now, here might be some run. Hibbert's a good kick.
And away on his left foot, which helps. Goes long down towards full forward. Bell-Chambers in position A, although backing into him, Richards made it difficult. Close to the boundary line. Zaharakis arrives quickly, but the boundary line is too close.
It was a real risk playing Bell-Chambers tonight because of his conditioning, and he just looks all at sea. His timing is completely out down there at the moment.
Yes, he certainly mistimed that jump. Boundary throw in. Just over 6 minutes. Well done. It comes behind the pack, and Hocking snaps a goal. Bell-Chambers managing to get it behind, and the opportunist goal from Heath Hocking.
So they haven't been able to get consecutive goals tonight, the Bombers. Hocking joins Zaharakis and Goddard. Let's see if they can make any inroads at all. Watson working so hard and usually so well. Zaharakis worried out of it. Sure, that was clever. Jack did well, just swirled the hips. Bird, who does fly under the radar, doesn't he? The handball by Hanbury. Twisting and turning, Lloyd gone. On the ball, just the pace. He's a He's going to be good, Lloyd. Just the pace of the game every now and then, I think, gets him, don't you?
The young players who have come in the side, Lloyd, Brandon Jack, Harry Cunningham, all elevated rookies. I mean, they're getting great bang for their buck out of their recruiting.
So Bagley goes down the line.
Danaher works in front, but jostled out of it. It's going to be a free kick. Advantage is paid. Danaher finishes up with the foot. He runs it and kicks the goal. It was going to be his free kick, and he reaps the benefit.
It's that kind of ground level agility that makes you think he's just going to be a really good player. At the moment, he can't do what he's going to do when he's strong enough, like hold his position in the air for that overhead mark, but he's so agile at ground level. When he gets the aerial stuff, he's going to be good.
Hocking. So Essendon 3-1 in this term. Buddy's kicked 3-1 in this term as well, and one other behind for the Swans. So as Dennis said, it's parity at the moment. The next 5 minutes tell a bit of a tale. If Essendon get 1 or 2 and Sydney don't, then they've done their job in the second quarter. Of course, the other way, and it's perhaps the blowout that a lot of people might be thinking. Melsham there with Doc Reed. So just checking around the eyes, I think, and maybe how clear the head is. Ryder. There's Cunningham. Jack. Jack's stats this year are really interesting. Every game this year, he's actually got a higher number. He's been building all the way up to last weekend when he's got 29. So Heppel short got it from Watson. Gee, Watson, how many's Job had in the opening half so far? He's up to 18.
I tell you what, on the evidence you just gave us, Bruce, you'd tag Jack in the grand final if they get there.
Well, just very quickly, Denny's 14, 19, 19, 20, 23, 26, 29.
Kicked that towards half forward. In front of the pack, Heppel knocked it away from a teammate, showed courage to find it on the deck, gets it to Bell Chambers. There's a surge coming from the Bombers. And Zaharakis slides in to take the mark. About 35 metres out, quite a sharp angle, but the angle certainly will open up for the right footer. So for the moment at least, the Bombers running and taking their opportunities, creating their opportunities. This to finish. This would be something. No, never on line.
Good confidence boost there for Tom Bell Chambers. They had the numbers at the contest there, the Swans, but too slick the ball movement from the Bombers. Back-to-back goals is what they really need.
Well, they've had a good 5 or 10 minutes.
So look at Jack go. Gee, he's a hard runner. He just charges from side to side, end to end.
And I think Hocking has got the job on him at the moment. Goods couldn't free kick. 50 metres.
50.
Oh. Just lack of concentration, I guess. It's pretty slack to do that.
Sometimes it's just a skill error. You're trying to throw the ball back 30 metres, you can only throw it 20. I mean, it's an automatic 50-metre penalty, but I don't think anyone is deliberately not giving the ball back. Yeah.
So Goodsy, he's had a quiet night so far. He hasn't missed a set shot this year. He hasn't played a whole lot of footy. And he gets it. So another champ's on the board. Goes past Bobby Skilton, by the way. One more goal than the great Bobby Skilton. He's number 5 on the all-time list now at Sydney, behind Bob Pratt, Michael O'Loughlin, Barry Hall and Tony Lockett. They're not bad names, are they?
Let's have a look at this. I guess Fletcher just maybe grabbed his arms. It wasn't much of a free kick. Let's have a look at this. This Hurley, he tries to hand pass it back, but only makes... I guess he's got to make sure it gets there, even if you've got to kick it to him or something.
It's a byproduct of playing on Lance Franklin. He sees Lance Franklin duck out the back. I've got to get this ball back as quick as possible.
I'm off.
You mentioned Kieran Jack had an ankle injury at the start of the season. He is real. That gut-running lead from half-back was something else.
Margin 42 points. Bell Chambers finding his leap and his touch at the moment. Knocks it down in front. Going to ground was Kennedy. Slapped out of there by Goddard. Well done by Smith. Smothered the Stanton kick. Zaharakis has been busy. Forward it goes to Watson. Inside the forward 50, Ryder.
That's a beautiful kick. I mean, Ryder had the space. That's the idea with the play with the ball. Kick the ball to the space where the forward can move into it. And Watson just positioned it perfectly.
He's up to 19 possessions now, Joe Watson. So, huge kick for Paddy Ryder. Derricks has taken them all on. One would think he should wilt after half-time. Such is the volume of work, and Ryder capitalises after the mark and puts it through. So we're back to the quarter-time margin.
Tim, much better spread from Essendon there from the stoppage. Just got that quick handball out, and then just this lowering of the eyes from Jove up here. Just this spread.
Jude Bolton down there with Tim Watson, two greats of these respective clubs, both 300 game players. There's Kennedy. Ripped down Parker, great tackle. Watson again involved. Back to Jack. Derrick's little give was good. Rampy got a second chance. Little give, well done to Laidler. Laidler lowered the eyes. Franklin worked underneath this one by Hurley. Hurley, quick giveaway. But he's really put a shiver up their back, I think, in this first half. Dempsey over it, got to get it out. Still there. He's gone. He's gone. So Bird from half forward.
Tippett to score. Just sets it up long, and why not? Tippett really sated, you've got to say. Got there. Spoiled that time. Taken by Stanton. Hooker sold into trouble. Goods got him. Had a lot of time to get rid of it. And forces are behind.
Yeah, right. He's very, very good hooker, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a really good defender all year. He's got this. Well, I guess he's a big man himself, but certainly he's done well. Tippett's almost got a couple, but really good spoiling defence.
Fletcher brings it in then. High ball outside the defensive 50. Grundy over the top, knocked it down. Taken by Bell Chambers. Look away, hand pass from Kennedy. Long kick from Rampy. Long kick from Rampy. Oh, that hurts. They're trying to mount a comeback. And a defender dobs a goal from about 60. Beautiful kick.
She's got a lovely left foot, hasn't it?
Just kept going, didn't it? You thought, oh, this will probably be just a right on the goal line, but just cleared the pair of players on the goal. That's a beautiful kick. It's at least 60 metres from goal, so that's probably a 65-metre carry.
He fills out the 24 a little bit better than me, mate. He's got probably a bit better kick too.
Yeah, good number.
It's a better left foot kick anyway.
We're talking about Hooker doing the job on Tippett, because we talked about Hooker maybe on Franklin at the start of the night. Now, Buddy's been everywhere and has been so damaging, but Hooker has done a good job on Kurt, hasn't he?
Outstanding.
So Derrick's and Bell Chambers. It's been a lively second term. Lots of goals, hasn't there? 12 goals to 5. Free kick here, holding the footy. So Watson, what a first half he's played. And a team that's been beaten by 7 goals at the moment has to spread wide to Bagley. Then Bagley coming back to Fletcher. So Fletcher to wind it up, a bit of an up and under. He's just hoping someone can take a mark. Derrick's well done. 2 games 2 years ago for Richmond. I mean, he really is a remarkable recycled story, isn't he?
He's just the latest of the conveyor belt of ruckman. When they have to be played first ruck, all of a sudden they start to improve enormously.
If you're 5'10" and you're that good, you don't get a game, do you? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I know exactly what you mean, Naka. Yes. There's not been too many 5'10" ruckmans. Is that what you're telling me?
He's 26 years of age, and the reason he's out there is because he's big. But he's doing the job.
He is.
A lot of players who are that tall spend 10+ years on a list.
Oh,
he's confident
again. Delusions of adequacy that time. What a leap. But the mark is taken by Laidler, running back to the flat
building up too much. Should play outside his comfort zone.
I reckon he's got that earpiece in. The umpire should have him, don't you? He's listening to us.
We're going to stop the journeyman stuff.
No, keep it
exciting player.
Keep it in there.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
He fancies himself as a battler against the odds. What a leap that was.
Excellent.
He's got all the bits. No one just put them together right in the pass. There goes the kick up towards the wing, and there's the siren for half-time. Well, Essendon worked and worked and worked, but late goals to Sydney have made it tough again. 43 points the margin. It was 36 at quarter time. Accuracy early from the Swans. Spirited second term by Essendon, but eventually the revolution, for the time being at least, put down. Half-time on Friday Night Football, and at Sydney 12-4, the Bombers 5-3.
In a team of stars, he has been the one in the opening half. What a great city Melbourne is on Friday night. First time the Swans have ever played a Friday night match at Etihad, which is remarkable in itself, and that's their highest half-time score for about 3 years. They lead 12 goals to 5. Watson's been magnificent. Kennedy not far behind him, maybe up with him. Look at those numbers. They're big, aren't they? But Franklin has been outstanding. So the Bombers tried to keep up in the second quarter, couldn't quite. But I think everyone's talking about Buddy. His ability to mark. He's taken 5 marks tonight. 2 of them, guys, have been contested, and he's hit the scoreboard with 4 goals. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, well, as we said during that half, when he's doing this, he is simply unstoppable. And he is the best player in the competition when Buddy Franklin's marking the ball. I think over the last 4 or 5 years, we know that he's a great crumbing player, but this has been lacking.
Seems their chemistry is really strong. All of those are one-on-one in space. So Tippett, Goods, Reid creating some great structures in their forward 50.
The forward class, I mean, he's leading the forward class, but really the clearances have been fairly equal. It's just when the ball goes into the Swans forward line, they just got too much class, and Franklin's leading that.
Lee, you mentioned clearances. What about Watson and Kennedy? What a first half we're seeing with these two guys.
Well, they've both been magnificent. As I say, the clearances have been fairly equal, and Watson has been the main contributor for Essendon, and Kennedy the main contributor for the Swans. They've both had 5 each clearances. I mean, they're both terrific, big, powerful midfielders, getting plenty of the ball. They win it in close. They link up outside. Great players.
Well, both coaches have gone into the game and clearly looked at those two, and they're probably as similar key midfielders as there are going around in the competition. Say, look, we'll just let them go head to head. If from an Essendon point of view, we'll use Heath Hocking on a Dan Hanbury, but these two have been fantastic for their respective clubs.
Well, if it wasn't for Joe Watson, you'd wonder how far the Bombers would be behind, and his use going into that forward 50 was special in that first half.
Lee, those
good numbers, aren't they? Well, you see them there. I mean, they're contested ball winners, clearance players. They're tackling, taking that. They really, they've both been really good, and just happened for that last half of the second quarter. They seem to be fairly much playing on each other when around the stoppages, at least.
Well, a young midfielder who turned 22 this week. At a slightly different stage to these two guys, but he's a star as Dyson Heppel, and his brother's playing in the VFL for Essendon. We caught up with them this week.
We both grew up in Leongatha, down in South Gippsland. I suppose we're always pretty active as little tackers, always running around, kicking footies, playing basketball. Always grew up, I suppose, watching Dad play footy, and that's really where the love of the game came from. And we had plenty of biffs along the way and got stuck into each other, but no, we had a great childhood in Leongatha, yeah. When Az was younger, he used to be nuts. Like, he'd literally chase us with shovels and baseball bats. We were very competitive kids. Yeah. And whenever Az got stitched up, which was regularly, he'd flip his lid and, I don't know, we'd be getting chased with a shovel or something around the house.
We're country boys, but
well, we're sipping chai lattes and soy lattes over here, so I don't know. But no, certainly country boys at heart. And
I think Dad started rocking it first.
That's fair game.
Big red mullet back in the 70s.
Yeah, Dad had a stinking mullet back in the day, but I don't know. I think I just look like a goose with short hair, so I just always went with the long hair. And then, Az obviously looks up to me. Wants the same wig, so he's gone with it.
I tried to go away from it a couple of years ago. I shaved her off and it didn't look that great, so I quickly grew it back.
Oh dear.
Spot on. Just give me a run around. The old dog.
The old boy, old space cat.
Oh, I got that roaster.
Oh yes.
Grew up with roasting the weather.
Bang that in the weather when we get back.
You reckon I'll go teach you how to play some golf tomorrow?
Oh, chance. It was obviously a little bit disappointing we couldn't pick him up in the national draft, but the club were really supportive for Azza and were the first ones to contact him to bring him down to play with our VFL side, which was great.
Look, I was really uncertain whether I'd go or not, so I was hoping I might sneak in, but missed out. So really disappointing, but just try and do what I can now, try and have a good year at the VFL and see how we go at the end of this year, and keep trying.
It's been great having him around the club. Utilises the facilities as much as he can, and the club sorted him out with a weights program and whatnot. So they're really helping him out, and I'm enjoying having him there. We absolutely love footy, so we don't see it as a job really. We do it for the love of the game, and mucking around with mates and whatnot. It's still the same as what it was as when we were kids. So really, that pressure doesn't really affect us, I don't think.
Couple of lads, home and away, I reckon. They've got their own reality TV show, don't you? Those two guys, the Heppels. Some breaking news right now. Let's go to Nathan Templeton from 7 News.
Well, guys, there's been a development tonight in the Toby Green story. The young Giant star has informed Greater Western Sydney that he will appeal the penalty handed down by the club. Green was suspended for 5 matches and fined $5,000 for being involved in an incident outside a Melbourne nightclub on Monday night. He faces a number of assault charges and will front court in September. That sanction, though, is purely for drinking while he was injured and failing to inform the club what had happened that night. Green and his manager Paul Connors say the penalty is excessive, so there will be an appeal most likely next week, and there's a real standoff now between Toby Green and the Giants.
Gee, that's a shock. That's a twist, isn't it?
I find that unbelievable, Wayne, that he's a young player. The club have come down. He broke protocol. He was out drinking when he was injured. He didn't tell the club, take your medicine. We had a situation with Steve Johnson. Poor advice from management and the Players Association.
He's a 20-year-old, so he goes off the advice of his manager, and terrible decision by Paul Connors to challenge that. I mean, as you said, cop the fine, spend 5 weeks on the sidelines and get on with it.
Lee, go on.
I was going to say, you wonder whether there's a subplot potentially for coming home, maybe sort of disgruntling the club and say, look, maybe I want to come back to Melbourne.
Lee, you're the coach of the Giants. How do you react to something like that?
I think you take your medicine. I mean, there is an appeals process that exists within football, so the clubs can't, what's the word, just unfairly penalise players. But I don't think that doesn't seem like an unfair penalty, so I would have thought taking your medicine and moving on.
Well, the viewers at home, I just saw those numbers there, 90% feel like the penalty was not too harsh. So that's a huge surprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I wonder how that finishes up now.
Well, that'll upset the hierarchy of the Giants. Without a doubt, they're making a statement as a club, a values-based club in a tough market in Sydney, to stand for something really, really strong and solid, and I'm staggered by that.
Yep, so that's the situation there with Toby Green. So plenty more to come on Carlton Draft, Friday night footy. The Swans have been brilliant in the opening half. Franklin with 4 first-half goals.
Carlton Draft, front bar folklore.
Was this footy's darkest moment? Round 10, 1996. St Kilda and Essendon are in the midst of a tight struggle when this happened.
Well, amazingly, here at Waverley, there has been some sort of power failure and the whole place is in darkness.
Scotty Cummings, was this football's darkest moment?
Oh, quite literally it was, yeah.
Were you frightened?
Well, not so much scared of the dark, Mick, in that sort of way, but you know, it was just pandemonium.
How'd you go finding your car? Because I couldn't find my car in the Waverley car park when the lights were on. You would have been there for hours, wouldn't you? Why did they go out? Do you know why they went out?
I think, didn't know at the time, obviously, but then we found out, I think a car went into a telegraph pole.
It's probably a young Buddy Franklin. But it got quite out of control. I mean, I remember a bonfire there at some stage with all the fans around it.
Some call it a riot, others, it was pretty cold at Waverley. I just thought they were just trying to keep themselves warm.
There was an accident in the area, and believe it or not...
I remember Malcolm Blight did a cross with a torch under his chin, like he was at camp scaring the kids. Is that how Sheedy did his halftime address?
Really, no, I didn't pay much attention at the best of times, which probably explains my Essendon career.
Just out of interest, how many goals had you kicked at that stage?
It's more about creating goals.
Wasn't you who pulled the plug, was it?